Welcome back. Previously, we discussed about annuity, two major kinds of annuity immediate and annuity due, and followed by that, we have dealt with perpetuity. Let us deal with some of the other cases that comes under perpetuity. Previously, we discussed what is meant by perpetuity and how to find the total present value in case of a perpetual annuity. Next, we will discuss about present value of deferred annuity. This is a case that comes under annuity. In the beginning of annuity, we learned about different types of annuity: annuity due, annuity immediate, annuity certain, and deferred annuity. The term deferred annuity means the payment of annuity begins after the lapse of a certain period. That is known as deferred annuity. And present value of deferred annuity is a case where you are using the present value factor in the case of a deferred annuity. So let's discuss a case regarding deferred annuity and how to find the present value of deferred annuity. As I have told earlier, deferred annuity is a situation in which the first payment will begins only after the lapse of a certain period. So in this question, find the present value of an annuity 2000 payable for 20 years, but the first payment starts only after fifth year. So the period of installments or investment was 20 years, but the actual payment begins only after the fifth year, or the first payment starts after 5 years. So this is a case of deferred annuity, because here only after a lapse of 5 years the payment for a period of 20 years has begun. Total time is 20 years. Since 5 years or 5 years period has been lapsed out, so the remaining time is 15 years, and the rate of interest is 10% compounded. So let's see how we are going to deal with a case of deferred annuity where present value factor is taken into consideration. So we know the case of annuity in which the given details given in the case are annual amount is or annuity amount is 2000, because 2000 is a fixed amount that is to be paid for a period of 20 years, and the rate of interest is 10%. So automatically I will be 0.1, and the time is 20 years. It's already given in the question. So first of all deal with how to find the present value of deferred annuity. Then we will deal about the next part. So as per the present value of deferred annuity, the equation will be a by I into 1 minus 1 plus I raised to minus n. Here a by I which we have dealt in the previous session, and this part mainly signifies how to find the present value in case of an annuity. So by combining these two equations, you will get the present value of deferred annuity case. So let's extract and substitute the details given in the question. Here a is 2000 divided by I is 0.1 into 1 minus 1 plus I is already given 0.1 into raised to minus n. Here n is already given 20, so let it be minus 20. By substituting the same and solving using the basic mathematical operation, you will get 2000 divided by 0.1, you will get 20,000 into 1 minus 1 plus 0.1 is 1.1 raised to minus 20. 20,000 into 1 minus 0.1486. I hope you know how to find the value of 1.1 raised to minus 20. You need to multiply 1.1 20 times, and in order to remove the negative factor, you need to divide 1 divided by the product of this 1.1 20 times. So you will get 0.1486. So 20,000 into 0.8541, that is the difference between 1 and 0.1486. Just, I think you are aware about how to find the number with its superscript of any value, even if it is a case of positive value as well as negative value. Since here it is a negative value, I hope you all are aware about what are the steps that has to be followed so as to arrive to this number. So anyway, you will get rupees 17,028. Okay, this is the total present value of a certain amount by the end of the 20th year. But in this case, there is a lapse of 5 years because it is a case of deferred annuity where the first payment starts only after the 5th year. So you need to find the present value after considering this 5 years. So out of 20 years, here the first 5 years are lapse years. So you need to find the present value on the basis of the remaining 15 years. So now we have the present value of the certain sum on the basis of 20-year factor. So the first payment starts only after 5 years. Thus, the present value is to be corrected as present value divided by 1.1 raised to 15. Because here 1.1 raised to 15 is 1 plus 10 by 100 raised to n. That is the present value factor equation for finding the present value of this specific number. We have learned about the equation for finding the present value of rupees 1 for n number of years. The equation was 1 divided by 1 plus r by 100 raised to n. That is the equation part we have used here. So we already have the present value of the certain number for the specific period. Since you are asked to find the present value of that number for the actual 15 years, the equation is present value divided by 1.1 raised to 15. That is 17,028 divided by 1.1 into 15 times. You just need to take only 1.1 into 15 times. No computation regarding 1 divided by something like that, because it is an equation for finding the present value factor, not the present value in case of an annuity case. Here you are trying to find the present value of the certain number after considering this lapse period of 5 years. So you are finding only the value of present value factor basis. Here we have computed on the basis of annuity basis. That's why we are using -1 situation. Here we are finding the present value factor not on the basis of annuity. We are finding the present value of a certain number after considering the lapse of first 5 years. That's why we are using this equation. So PV divided by 1.1 raised to 15, you will get 1728 divided by 1.6105, that is 10,573. I hope you understand the concept. In this equation, we have been using two cases of present value factors. One is the present value factor of rupees 1 for n number of years, and present value factor of n years for in case of an annuity. So familiarize with the equation which we have dealt in this case, and also the cases which we have been discussing in the previous sessions. Just understand each and every case. Even though they find it similar, there are some specification and differences between each cases. So understand it wisely. Let's go to next case. Equated monthly installments, otherwise known as EMI. We all are familiar with the term EMI. Daily you have been hearing different kinds of advertisements, different kinds of banking policies, marketing policies, and even purchasing or marketing of different goods and services in the present market relating to EMI. Usually you will hear advertisement regarding purchase of a certain car, or purchase of certain assets or purchase of certain building, houses. Usually all these purchase of certain assets are associated with EMI. Usually you will find and hear and see various advertisements relating to EMI. And even now you can hear the advertisement regarding EMI at the time of purchasing a mobile phone. You can even use this facility in case of a mobile phone. So we all are familiar with the term EMI. EMI means equated monthly installments. That means a fixed amount that are paid at equal intervals or equal amounts are paid monthly. That is known as equated monthly installment. Remember, here the payments are made monthly. That is known as EMI. And okay, when this EMI comes, whenever you want to purchase or buy or lend something from someone, you can either pay the full amount or you can follow EMI concept. EMI concept means the total amount for that particular goods, and it is known as principal plus a certain amount of interest for or that has been demanded by the borrower or seller. So the total amount of that product or asset plus certain amount of interest can be paid at different intervals on monthly basis, and that payment are usually at a fixed rate or a fixed amount. That is known as equated monthly installments. For example, if you want to buy a mobile phone that is 30,000 rupees cost or price. So if you want to buy something or mobile phone which is cost about 30,000 rupees, you can either pay the full amount, that is the usual case, or else you can follow equated monthly installments. Equated monthly installments means you can pay a rupees 1,000 for each month. So you are aware about number of times is you have to pay plus a certain percentage of interest. That is known as equated monthly installment. You can see many advertisements regarding motorbikes, car, mobile phones regarding payments on the basis of equated monthly installment. So let us discuss how to mathematically compute equated monthly installments with regard to different cases in the day-to-day life. So before we go into the cases, let's deal with the theoretical part of the equated monthly installment. EMI is defined as a fixed payment of the amount made by a borrower to a lender at a specified date of each calendar month, because they are paid monthly. EMI differ from variable payment plans, in which the borrower is able to pay higher payment of amount at his discretion. If I am borrowing some money from someone, it is my discretion to pay how much amount has to be paid monthly. I can pay either the higher amount or a lower amount. Anyway, I have to pay a fixed amount on monthly basis. In EMI plans, borrowers are generally allowed one fixed payment amount each month. That is one case. That is not usually EMIs are based on flat rate or fixed rates. And another case of EMI is also there. It is known as reducing rate. Means just like a diminishing depreciation case, there is another category. We will discuss about that part during the computation of problem. The benefit of an EMI for borrowers is that they know precisely how much money they will need to pay towards their loan each month. That is a good advantage. That is the main advantage of EMI, where we can plan how much amount we have to pay monthly basis so that our debt will be repaid for in full. The main advantage of EMI is it helps to plan our budget, financial budget, our expenses budget, like that, because we can plan in advance how much money has to be paid in each month. For a fixed interest rate loan, the EMI remains fixed for the entire tenure of the loan. EMI are used to pay off both interest and principal each month so that over a specified number of years the loan is fully paid off along with the interest. That is the concept of EMI. The first EMI has the highest interest component and the lowest principal component. Because at the beginning the principal amount will be lower. With passage of time and with passage of multiple interest payments, the principal amount is covered. So for every subsequent EMI, the interest component gets reduced and the principal component keeps rising. However, EMI remains the same during all months. That is the best advantage as far as a borrower is concerned. So this is how a equated monthly installment works. Now EMI is almost it can be found in almost every marketing activities, in all sorts of purchases as well all sorts of marketing fields. We can see EMI. There is no area where without an EMI activity can be seen. So just be aware about what is in the EMI and the concept of EMI, because it is evident in almost all marketing and business activities, and it's play an important and integral part in the activities of the business. So that's all for today. We will discuss about the theory application of theoretical part or the problem oriented cases in the coming sessions. Thank you.